Hello, the winter's here. My name is Mark Crossfield. I'm going to give you my best in my slippers golf tips to help you still improve in your golf this winter, even if it's raining, frosty, what have you. Come inside, let's get stuck in. So my favourite indoor chipping trick is chipping onto my less preferred sofa out of the two. Now, the reason I enjoy chipping indoors is a few things. One, it allows me to feel strike, try and build up some confidence with strike. My chipping lacks confidence in strike, which shows in the videos. It's improving, but it's still not where I want it to be. So just practicing strike each time by chipping from the mat here, so from my rug onto the sofa, gets me to feel strike, and if I can contact it, any kind of patterns, hitting it heavy or hitting it thin, to try and work on. Also, I play a little bit with loft, so I chip it onto my sofa. Obviously you've got all the breakables around, so it's being aware of that makes me really concentrate on my finer movements, if you like, and that kind of quality of strike. And once I'm happy I'm chipping it on the sofa, I might go for my favourite Van Gogh cushion over there, try and hit the vase, try and hit one of the sunflowers, those kind of things. So I'll play with the loft, play with a strike. This is a great way to keep your chipping just kind of ticking over during the winter, and even work on a few things if you've got some ideas to try and fix like I have. So my favourite iron drill that I use indoors. Now you've got to remember, if you use any drill, it's got to be about delivery. Now I understand with my delivery that you'll hear me say bottom groovy a lot, hit out the bottom groove. Now I have a tendency when I make my backswing to turn off the ball, get a little bit too much what we'd call side bend in my upper body. So before I'm playing, I do this in the summer as well because I don't get out to play, so the winter to the summer actually training for me isn't that dissimilar. But certainly when I was playing a lot, I would do this in the winter. I have this little drill that I use where I turn on one foot, so right foot behind left, and I turn shoulders across my chest trying to turn over that one foot. It just takes the side bend out of my backswing, gets the right amount of forward bend in there, gets the right amount of turn for me, and makes me feel like I would hit a little bit more of a better strike, certainly in those early shots. If I get to the tee, I haven't had a chance to warm up, freezing cold, don't always want to have to go and warm up before. This is a great drill that works for me. It'll be a good drill that works for you if you're someone who maybe catches it out the bottom a lot as well. But the main point here is try and get a drill that works for your delivery. If you've got some kind of issue with your delivery, get a lesson, get a drill, a movement, something that you can practice even if you don't have to swing a club, to try and help you hitting some better shots. This drill works wonders for me when I do it. I'm not disciplined enough with it, but if I do it before I start rounds, it definitely changes those early strikes into being more positive for me. Here we go, putting drill. Got a few of these. This is one of my favourites. It's a distance control drill, so I'm literally going to putt from different distances to my door threshold to try and get it to stop on that threshold. It's a really great way to try and control that distance. Now, controlling the distance of your putt, how far you hit the ball, is a key to holding putts, because if you think you've got a breaking putt, if you don't pick a consistent distance or speed of that putt, it's going to be taking a different break every time. So you choose your line, hopefully based on speed. If you then can't control speed, see how the things just start mounting up where it just becomes a bit of a lottery, more pot luck than anything else. This is a great distance control to do in your slippers. Now, if you're working on a certain move, something that you maybe struggle to visualize or feel during your swing, which is going to help you improve again that delivery. Remember, all moves need to be focused on what they're doing to delivery. So if you've got a certain move that a coach is giving you one you find that works for you on the course and you struggle to do it. I love reflection work. I love doing, always have done, doing stuff. I use literally reflection of my doors that lead out into my back garden, and just watching myself make this move, get that feeling as I see it happening in the reflection, really helps me get that mental picture of what I need to be doing on the course, that kind of visualization. I work with those kind of visualizations, and so many students do. You show them pictures, you kind of paint pictures with words, and it kind of lights up their imagination. Now, when doing reflection work, so I'm thinking about the back of my left wrist here, trying to flatten it on the way down. Feel like I'm just bowing it on the way down, which from so many students is a great thing to do because it improves face to path control. What I do as well is I try and have a look at where the wrong movement is. So that's the wrong way and that's the right way. So I'm trying to feel both. Watching, I'm not watching my hands, I'm watching them in reflection. Kind of this out of view back at me is what allows me to really make these pictures in my mind. So when I'm stood on a tee, and you need to just use that kind of inner visualization, if you like, those kind of images really replay in my head and help me hopefully recreate them. So any students out there this winter working on the way you hold the club, if you've discovered with lessons or yourself that if you hold the club in a certain way you hit better shots, you have a better delivery of the club. What I would do with changing my grip, I used to do it with another sport. I actually did it with tennis, where I had one side that was much weaker than the other. So backhand on my left-hander was weaker than my forehand, and I actually switched them over one year just by in the winter picking up a racket every day and motioning some backhand kind of actions, just feeling that backhand, making it feel more comfortable. Best way for you to change your grip on the way you hold the club, have a club floating around in your house, every room you go into. If you've got 2 seconds, try and pick it up, waggle it around, set that grip on in the way you know you want it to be. Doing it away from course, doing it away from practice, from hitting balls, often allows people to ingrain that change much easier than having the distraction of trying to hit target. When you get to the range, that hold will feel a lot more familiar. Another great putting tip here. I'm in my kitchen, the kettle is on, and we have a tile floor in my kitchen here, which just throws at me loads of straight lines. Now I have my putter. You want to calibrate where straight is to you, then this is a great way to do it, and a great time. The kettle takes 2 or 3 minutes the ball, great way to just calibrate where you think straight is. So many people, as I measure them on my sand putting system outside, their idea of straight isn't where straight actually is. So their aim, their idea of delivering that face to that target to try and get the ball going on their desired kind of start line is not always where they think it is. A recalibration, a rethink, a learning of where straight is, using some straight lines, is a great way for you to improve aim, improve putter delivery, and hopefully improve start direction of your putts. Don't be afraid to pick your putter up daily. Do this for 2 minutes every day. You'll completely recalibrate where you think straight is. It's very interesting, the conversations I have with some students about what the meaning of straight actually is, because it's not all the same for all of us. So this last drill is a great one to try and maybe get you to think about angle of attack and how to manipulate it. So many kind of cheap ideas out there about changing ball position, leans and those kind of things, which can have an effect, but often do not. Try this drill. It's an interesting one and it really helps golfers. So look, when golfers, so I've got my driver, and let's pretend you're someone who struggles with hitting down a lot on the ball, which is common with many, many amateur golfers. If you wanted to play with trying to hit up, I see the biggest difference when you get people trying to understand what ulnar and radial deviation are. So if we think of ulnar as bending the wrist down to the ground, radial was what you would call hinging up to the air. I see loads of cheap drills and lessons and articles in papers telling you to kind of pump this action into here with loads of what we call radial deviation in there. That encourages you to lead with the handle. That means the club is still very much going down as it gets with the ball. You'll struggle to hit the ball on the way up at those points. If you've got the ball forward and you've got upper body lean, all those kind of things ain't going to make a difference if that handle gets that far forward. So all measured good players that I've used using my swing, when they get down to last parallel, they're always in ulnar deviation. So that means their left wrist is actually pointing down to the ground. Now when you hit the ball, your left wrist is going to be in ulnar deviation. It's the only thing that puts the club on the ground. So you trying to hold on to any kind of lag angles, which is so common with golfers, is an absolute wrecker. I see it with students after students. So indoors, I've got my driver. What I'm doing is getting down the last parallel, feeling like pressure on my left foot, feeling my left wrist bending down to the ground. See the shaft is still parallel to the ground. Then for me, I'm going to feel like I'm just turning up and through. Left shoulder goes back up into this corner as I pull through. Try and do a few swings where you feel like you get into this position near impact and then turning through. You're going to find your angle of attack just transforms when I do this with golfers. It absolutely changes their perspective of what hinging the wrist or not does. Forget lag. It's a killer for golfers, and I'm afraid measured facts show most good players, if not all, are in ulnar at last parallel. Why people are telling you to get in radial and pump hold lag, I literally don't know.